Now, as a Brit, if I was to walk around the streets of, say, London and ask people to talk about motorsport in America, I'm pretty sure they'd start describing, without realizing it, some of the cars that I got stood behind me here, NASCAR. And this year at the Velocity, we're celebrating 76 years of NASCAR. And one man who can tell me all about it is stood alongside me right now. Michael Thompson, great to see you, my friend.
Very nice to see you.
It's great to be here. This is the first year that you guys have brought these cars out to the Velocity, and oh boy, you're putting on quite a show.
Yes, this first year we're here to put on a show for the fans. These are awesome cars. They're fun to drive, and the fans get behind them. So this is great, you know.
It is really great because I have to say we got 9 classes running here. You guys, I forget what group number you are, but when your 16 or so cars are lined up going that first lap before then you start to go, it's like nothing else that's here.
The roll of thunder of a V8 motor coming up those hills, you know, 8-10 cars, even 8-10 cars deep is just mind-boggling.
Now talk to me about NASCAR then, because for you, and probably like many enthusiasts who get into motorsport, it started out when you were much younger and just sitting at home watching the TV.
Yeah, much younger. In '79, the first fully televised NASCAR race at Daytona 500 was televised because they had a massive snowstorm on the East Coast and it shut down all the football games and everything, and that was the only thing on TV. Before that, we just got little snippets of NHRA and NASCAR on Wide World of Sports. And I was 13, 14 years old at the time, and I've been watching IndyCar and Monaco, you know, the big races, but that's first real induction into NASCAR that it's actually something that's attainable for a normal person.
I mean, quite remarkable that, you know, when I stand alongside these cars, you think it's attainable. They look terrifying to me. They look anything but attainable. But honestly, what are they like to drive? Because you got into driving them a little bit later in life as well. You weren't coming at it from like a pro driver point of view.
I spent many years as a crew chief working on teams, you know, with drivers, and I made the jump into the driver's seat at about 40, 45 years old. And sometimes I wish I would have started earlier because I'd had a lot more behind me. But it's a fun car to drive. There are lots of horsepower, lots of brakes. The tires are the least amount on the car. You know, tires, the newer cars run bigger, wider tires, they got a lot more grip. The biggest thing is the grip in the tires. Yeah. But there's so much fun to go bouncing off the berms, and they're just great cars to go run.
We're familiar with NASCAR doing banked ovals, and, you know, like I say, if you ask your average Englishman, that's what they think, you know, you'd be doing all the time. You're obviously here at Sonoma, though. You got lefts and rights, you got ups and downs. It's a lot more than a banked oval. How do they handle around a track like this?
They handle awesome around a track like this, set up right. Even back in the early 70s, they were running Watkins Glen and Riverside. So road courses, nothing new to NASCAR. They just don't run a lot of them.
Because it's quite a collection of cars that you've got here. We're going all the way from, I think, 1981 right up to 2013?
Yes, that is correct. 2013s are a lot faster cars. There's more developed. The 90s cars are a little bit slower, but we're still doing under 2 minutes in them. And the 80s cars are not that much far behind the 90s cars.
And if we were to talk about, like, you know, NASCAR's heyday or the golden era, what are we talking about here?
We're talking the late 80s through the 90s. When they started getting the 2000s is when the real push, the media and everything came up. But the heyday of the cars being factory-backed was, you know, in that era, the 80s and 90s.
And that was a time really as well when television was king, wasn't it? So it's getting beamed in homes all around the US. And that's why really, I suppose, the liveries of these cars, they're just iconic, aren't they? Everyone remembers them.
Up on the TV. I mean, the biggest thing that, you know, we got on the TV in '79 for the Daytona, and then TNN brought on NASCAR on their programming and Speed Channel, and it just went to national Fox and those guys. So it's just grown immensely.
And the car that we stood in front of as well, the Quaker State car, number 26, a 1995 Ford Thunderbird, that's yours. That's quite a history to it as well.
Yes, it's got quite a history. It's a King Racing car. King Racing was owned by Kenny Bernstein, one of the kings of drag racing. And for 7 races, he had Steve Kinser, the king of outlaws, 20-time champion in the outlaws, running the car.
phenomenal stuff. Listen, Michael, I could stand and talk to you all day because all of these cars got lots of stories, but I can tell you the people here at Velocity are loving seeing you go out, so I do hope you're going to come back.
Yes, we hope to get invited back. We want to put on a great show for them to get invited back because these cars are just awesome. They bring out the fans.
Well, Michael, I tell you what, you bought about 16 cars here this year, but I reckon this time next year you could probably double it.
We're really hoping to do that.
Thanks ever so much for talking to us, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you.